So I wasn't initially planning to do any video on this. It's just something that as I kind of got into the day-to-day, decided I wanted to talk about some and just say something about the anniversary of today from 20 years ago. And just talk about where I was 20 years ago and what all happened there. I was a college student then. I was attending a university kind of south of Dallas-Fort Worth area. And at that point I was, I had Monday, Wednesday, and Friday classes on campus. And so Tuesdays and Thursdays I didn't have classes, and I actually still had my old job that I had from before when I was working. Or before I was in college, and that was at a machine shop. It was a machine shop that my father had worked at for a very long time. He continued working through there through different ownership changes, and recently retired from what that shop became. And so I was there, and we were in that morning. We usually started pretty early in the morning, and I had been previously, I started off working on one of the CNC or computerized machines. It's one where you just stick the part in and push the button and it does everything. And they moved me over to one of the manual machines to do work on that. And that was something that I kind of had to stay at and really not wander off and leave or anything. So I hadn't had a chance to get my radio and put by me or anything, and I was just doing that. And one of the other guys at one of the other machines flagged me down. I stopped mine for a moment and went over there, and it was the Eagle, which is our rock station in Dallas, that was talking about a plane having hit one of the towers there in New York. And we thought it was like some small plane and an accident or something. It seemed really really strange there, but I went ahead and went back to my machine and got to working on that. And later on I noticed a bunch of the guys really kind of agitated around the radio and just like a lot of something going on there. So I stopped and went over there, and that's when I was hearing on there that the second plane had hit on the second tower there. And then we kind of knew at that point, didn't know completely then, but we started to know what was happening. At that point I was able to grab my radio from the other machine I was at and put it there by me and listen to that. And we just kind of listened to everything play out over that whole morning. At lunch, the boss, the owner of the shop there, had brought in a television and put it in his office. We all went into his office and we watched for the first time all of the images that had been seen on there, since we had all been listening on radio and hadn't seen any of it there. And I don't know how long we stayed in there watching that. We were just, I really don't know, but we just stayed in there. And eventually he told us, okay, all of you go back and try to do some work. And I could tell from his voice that he didn't even seem to believe that anyone was going to be able to work. And we did some work, but it was a very unproductive day. And so yeah, that's where I was when it happened there. Afterwards, I had planned on, since it was a Tuesday, and the shop that I worked at was in Mansfield, Texas, just a little bit south of Arlington, Texas. Since it was closer into town, we were going to go in and buy some components for a computer that I was building. And I wasn't sure if we were going to do that or not, but we called Fry's, where we were going to be going, and they said that they were open. So we went ahead and went to Fry's, and I just remember the store being empty because there's like no customers in there. The employees are just standing around by the TVs because they've got all these TVs set up that they're selling, and they've all got just everything running on the loop that the media was showing, just everything that happened the day over and over and over, just bouncing between different images, and that how people were freaked out, and like the lines around the gas stations were wrapped around the blocks. I remember just hearing on the radio all day and stuff, just like so much different stuff happening, and how much like misinformation there was going around at the same time. That, you know, there was, smoke coming from the Capitol, and just, you know, all this other things going on, just kind of rumors that kind of worked their way into the media somehow and started being reported as fact. But we eventually left Arlington and drove home, and took kind of a back route home, and stopped at a gas station in some small little town, because there, you know, wasn't a crazy line there, and they hadn't been run out of gas from people panic buying. And yeah, then we went home, and I don't know why I even went into Arlington to get that, because it's not like I worked on that computer that night. It was, I don't even remember when I got to putting all of that together. But that day, it just kind of set so much for what has happened in this country, and because of that, what happened in the country affecting what was happening in other parts of the world, that so much of just like life was changed in many ways, that just the way that the government and the country and just the people in the country reacted to it. We look back at a lot of things now, you know, going into Afghanistan and the Patriot Act and stuff, and question if those were good ideas, but they were frankly really popular ideas on September 12th, and everybody was really for doing all of that then. And I know most people talk about this sort of thing and add in comments that, you know, we hope that, you know, we don't see things like this again. But I think that we will. That I think just because of how people are and just what people are going to do, we're going to see things happen again, and we're going to have, I don't know when it would be or what it would be or what it would look like, but other days that will be like 9/11 and make us think of that. And what we need to do then is to think back of how we reacted in 2001 to all that, and to look at that again, and to make sure that we make the right decisions afterwards. That there were ways that we reacted great. There's a lot of ways that we all came together. We saw the country come together in ways that they had not ever done before, that like politics just went completely out the window. Approval ratings for just like all the politicians that were involved in this just shot up, you know, just crazy levels there. And there was just like so much support for just for everything, and it really brought us together in a lot of ways. But it also, with us being brought together, we also made bad decisions, and also chose to do things that weren't the best, made decisions out of fear, started doing things out of fear, started being afraid of certain people because of this, when they weren't the people that we should even be afraid of. And so that's the big takeaway that I want to make sure that we all have on this, is that you know, we unite like we're supposed to, but to also, you know, think and not let when these things happen, not let fear be the main thing that drives us, and to find other ways and other things to motivate us besides that fear.